Okay, well, as I still figure out whether I sit down or stand up, I sit down, and because it's the first time for me being to the European Parliament, and I have to tell you that's an amazing building or buildings, and it's quite astonishing what you can pay with German taxpayer money. Thank you for inviting me and allowing me to the opportunity to introduce my idea of how to deprive the extreme left from public money and support. And this is an idea you can really, or at least some of you, can really act on. And we should act. The city of Munich alone spends 40,000 euros a year for the local left-wing extremists. At the same time, these people are under the surveillance by the domestic intelligence service because they don't really fit into our constitution. But before I tell you how to force the withdrawal of public help for left-wing extremists who are paid by state and municipal authorities for beating up people, for having their own ideas and the chutzpah to express it, I want to tell you very briefly about myself. And that's the ray of hope, I think, Elizabeth was talking about. Since we talk about here free speech, I think it might be very telling and, as I said, encouraging. I'm Jung, and I'm an author for Blue News. Professionally, I'm a civil servant with the city of Munich. As such, I worked in the migration office, and it was my duty to expel and deport criminal foreigners and illegal immigrants. At the same time, I was also politically active. However, when the press, and for that matter, the city of Munich found out about my views on Islam, that is when the witch hunt began. Journalists, left-wing activists, and the Greens demanded that I be moved to another job and to see whether I had deported some of my so-called customers illegally. I don't know about you, but it's very seldom that you call someone customer and deport them at the same time, but nevertheless. What the city didn't tell the press was the fact that I had applied for another job 1 year before and had asked for a job where I would be expected to enforce the law as it was written, which is quite telling, I think. But anyway, someday I could read in the newspaper that I was really considered to be moved to another job. First, I was given a job with no contact whatsoever with anybody on the outside. I was promised that it would be only temporary. A few weeks later, they told me to take a job in which I was supposed to check whether bars, restaurants, and so on in the northern part of Munich were running their businesses as considered by the law. But some of my so-called colleagues in the new workplace, colleagues whom at this time I still haven't even met yet, and even some of my superiors wrote letters and emails to other colleagues and to their superiors that they couldn't work with somebody like me, as you can imagine. And they also claimed that me working there could be exploited by the press, as it has been done when I was working in the migration office. That was because so many of so-called migrants live and work in the northern part of Munich. So the city decided to take away this job from me. Having been denied this job, I applied for another one. This time I wanted to be teacher of the undergraduates of the city of Munich for administrative and constitutional law. And after the second application phase, they denied me the job and claimed they had somebody found with better qualifications. In addition to that, I was given my regularly scheduled civil servant evaluation. We get something like that. But I never found out why my evaluation levels had dropped that dramatically. Till then, I was, I have to say, to get the story straight, I was one of the best evaluated civil servants there. So, having been provided by my employer with so much entertainment, I decided to throw a party myself. And so I sued the city of Munich for not granting me the position as teacher for constitutional law by claiming that the city had infringed on my rights granted by the Constitution. I sued the city of Munich for providing me with a worse evaluation report than I had ever had before without providing proper reason. I sued the city of Munich for denying me the job in the Department of Gastronomy Oversight. I filed charges of libel against my colleagues, and since they got me started in this direction, I intend to sue and press charges for other issues as well. However, at this point, I'm still not in a position to talk about all measures I intend to undertake in the near future. But I'm very prepared, though, to talk about the two charges for which the trial has already taken place. Long story short, I won both lawsuits in last month. And the city found out, with the help of the court, that they had illegally denied me the job as trainee teacher and had no justification whatsoever for my unflattering evaluation report. So now they will have to redecide on both issues. So you can see we can win at least a small win, but it's a start, I think. However, at this point, the city hasn't still come up with another solution, with a better evaluation report or the offering me the job there. But this will tell you that there's nobody left I can actually lecture on constitutional law but you. Seriously, these things I'm telling you about are based on the legal and constitutional situation in Germany. However, the principles in any democratic states are the same, at least in this regard. Now, what's the principle I'm referring to? It's the principle that in a democratic society, the state is not allowed to harass individuals simply because they do not have the same ideas as the ruling party. Likewise, the state cannot, at least legally, deny a party the right to assemble or to hold a convention. No party that is elected into power is ever allowed to use this very power for the sake of suppressing its political competitors. This is what the Nazis did with their brown shirts and what the Italian fascists did with their black shirts. But just as it is illegal for the state itself to do this, it also cannot be legal to make public facilities and taxpayer money available to others, namely the Antifa, to what the state itself is legally forbidden to do. Thus, a political party, and there are some here today, should sue the state or municipal authorities on the basis that the political competition was unfair and therefore undemocratic. I'm quite certain that would force the withdrawal of public money to the Antifa, and that would be a big win, I think. Remember what the greatest philosopher of our times, Rush Limbaugh, said. There is no compromise with these people. There is only defeat. So let's defeat them with a tool about which they have no idea whatsoever. The tool is the rule of law, the basic tool for freedom and thereby for free speech. Thank you.